buying a detached home, meaning one that is not a condo or a townhouse, one of the things you really need to be aware of is if there is what's called an oil tank or an underground oil storage tank. Now, you would kind of think, what's the big deal with oil tanks? But the problem is when these were put in many, many years ago, usually prior to about 1965 or earlier, basically they started to rust. So basically these were left in the ground, not taken care of, and what slowly happens is the tanks start to rust and the oil leaks out. Now, years ago, people didn't care about as much about the environment. However, now we do have fairly strict environmental laws regarding these. So usually most people will try and have these removed, especially if you're trying to renovate or use the property or say rebuild a new house on the lot. Now, why these are a big deal is that sometimes these can get very expensive. Say you find years later after moving into your home that there is an underground oil storage tank. Well, okay, you bring in someone and you check to see if it's been leaking and if it can be removed, and sometimes this can range in a few $1,000s if there is no contamination. However, if there is contamination in the soil, if the tank had leaked, you can be looking at tens of thousands of dollars. The most expensive I've heard of is over $200,000. What makes it worse is if you're on a slope. What can happen is the oil can leak not only from your property but into your neighboring properties and all the way down. So what may have to happen is all the soil may need to be dug up. It needs to be cleaned and properly disposed of. And this gets very, very expensive. So in order not to have the burden of the expense on yourself, you really need to have that oil tank clause in your contract just to keep yourself protected. Please ask your realtor about this to make sure that you are covered and if oil tanks are prominent in your area or were in the past. Anyways, I'm Jennifer Berry.